Hello everybody, it's Carly, and thank you for tuning in to another one of my videos here on the Owning Authenticity YouTube channel. Be sure to stick around and check out some other ones. There are lots to choose from. This is going to be a really quick instructional video on how to pull your natal chart if you've never done that before. I'm going to show you two different ways to go about it. To do that, I'm going to share my screen and finish processing the last recording I just did. Here we go. Okay, so the very first way I ever did or ever tried to pull my own natal chart is just to Google free natal chart. Google knows everything. And you see right here, the very first search result is astro.cafeastrology.com, and it is a free astrology birth chart report. Birth chart and natal chart are interchangeable, so you can really either one of them, they mean the same thing. So here you just fill out your information. Doesn't matter for the sake of this. And then if you know the time that you were born, make sure to put that on there because there is just additional information that you can get if you do know the time of your birth. Typically, for most of us, that shows up on our birth certificate. If you don't know the exact time, I would say just leave it off and you can click this unknown time box here. And then down here is the physical location where you were born. So I'm going to take a Kansas and submit. The cool thing about Cafe Astrology is that it gives you a whole report. So all of this is like just kind of intro about natal charts in general. But then you get down into here and you get your specific placements. Placements just meaning where all the planets and the sun and the moon, what sign in the sky were those in the moment you were born. And so these are giving you a list of all of your unique placements. These are your placements in the houses. On the right side are the houses. And then down here is a fun little chart that shows you kind of a breakdown of your energy. So we are all a combination of fire, earth, air, and water energy. We are all a mixture of masculine and feminine. As you can see here, I am more masculine energy than feminine energy. I've known that my entire life. And then cardinal, fixed, and mutable, those are the modalities. And if you are interested in those modalities, I would highly recommend my podcast, Astro Lessons. There is an episode about those three modalities and what they mean. But as you can see here, I sway a lot towards mutable, which I also already knew about myself, but it was helpful to see it on paper, which is the cool thing about your natal chart. As you get into the report, then it goes through aspects, and these are the energetic conversation between the placements in your chart. So, like, for example, this is between the sun, the aspect is it's a sextile, and the other thing that it's talking to is the moon. So it's the line between the sun and the moon. This is getting really in depth. If you are brand new to natal charts, I would just skip over this entire table. As you can see, it's a long one. But this is really why I love I love Cafe Astrology for beginners, because you get down here and it gives you like a whole chart of not only like what does the sun mean, for example, or any of the planets, but then it also gives you, here's what it means when the sun is in Gemini. You can scroll a little bit further. And then it's also telling me about the sun in the third house, which is where my sun is located. And then it goes through all of the different aspects that my sun is talking to other things in my chart. And then it gets on into the moon. And it goes through the moon in the exact same way. So like, as you can see by the scroll bar over here, it's a lot of information, but it's a great place to start where it kind of puts it all right there together for you without you having to go and Google every single individual piece. And then I think down at the very bottom, if you're on Cafe Astrology, is where the actual wheel is. And so for a long time, I didn't even look at these. I only looked at like the list version of like the sun is in Gemini and just stick with that. Eventually, you know, especially when you get into aspects, all these lines in the middle, looking at the wheel is really the way to go. So that's available down at the bottom, along with these couple tables, which are pretty standard for any place that you're looking at natal charts. And then also, if you want to save it or print it or whatever, I have a stack of birth charts laying around here somewhere from when I got into them back in the day. I was printing off everyone's. And at that point, I realized I was ready to kind of graduate into astro.com. So that is where we are headed next. Astro.com. And this is another free one. It is totally free all the time to get your natal chart. Once you get there, my Astro, and then you see it's asking me to log in. If you have not logged in before, it'll just set you up with a little account and then you're ready to log in. So I am going to do that. And now we are in my list of all of the natal charts that I've ever pulled and have in my files. You can have up to 100 natal charts for free in the free version, and then it's only $11 to upgrade from there. And the only thing I got out of my upgrade, I'm pretty sure, was the ability to have more charts. And as you can see, I have 132 now. Not important. The thing is, if you're wanting to look at a bunch of different charts, this is a nice way to do it. The other reason that I like to come to this one, so if you click into a name, and it'll have you input your details the same as the other site where you just fill them in and then it saves the chart for you. So for a long time when I came to astro.com, I used this option, quick access to your chart and calculations, and you just click it and bam, it pulls it up. Easy peasy, standard, right? Nothing to it. You can turn on the transits. Real quick, the transits are where the planets are in the sky right now. And the natal planets, which are here on the wheel, natal means at the time of your birth. So my natal planets are unique to me and they don't ever change. They are my natal placements. But the planets are constantly moving, so they do continue to change. And so the transits are always current. Currently, where are the planets at any given time? But all of that to say that once you've graduated from the quick chart, then you move over here into extended chart selection. And when you click on that, you get all kinds of options that you can use to customize the natal chart that you are trying to get. And I have by no means even scratched the surface on what all is available here, but there are a few things that I'll show you real quick that are the reasons I learned how to use it. For one thing, you can pull your chart for any date in time. So for example, one of the first dates that I wanted to pull my chart for was July 9th, 2016. That was the day that I woke up and like had my spiritual epiphany. And I wanted to see what are the transits, what was going on in the sky at that time that helped me have that burst of, I am sick of being depressed. I am ready to feel better. Let's get on with the show. Because it was profound. And that was, you know, almost 5 years ago. Be 5 years here in less than 10 days. That's really cool. And it was very much a turning point in my life. So that was where I wanted to look, was I pulled the chart for July 9th, 2016 and looked at the transits, which were for July 9th, 2016. So that's a very cool feature that is extended chart selection. The other place that I like to turn on, the true node is another name for north node. And when you do the quick access, the north node is always included, but by default, it doesn't have the south node on the chart. It leaves that off, which, I mean, it's always opposite the north node. So you know where it is, but it's just not displayed. I like for it to be displayed. So I turn on the descending node. The other thing that I like to turn on is to all objects. And I will show you real quick what that means. So To all objects means it is going to add every single line it can onto the chart. When you look down at this table, this is the aspect table, and it shows all the aspects, but in the quick access version of your chart, it leaves a lot of them off to make it more simple and easier to look at. Um, I like to look at all of them. I like to see the bigger pattern that's there. You don't have to do that, but I like to look at it that way. The last thing I'll point out in extended chart selection are these additional objects. So there are, I mean, you can see here, 22,364 names of asteroids that you can add to your chart if you want to. Those things are floating around our solar system right now, and you can show them on your chart. So like you could literally, check it, we'll just add all of these. How did you do it? Nope, that's it. And then look. So we put a bunch more stuff on the chart, which sometimes it's cool to like play around with little things, but like look at it. When you put enough stuff on your chart, you basically have something in every sign. You have something in every house, except look at, I still have an empty 10th house, which is very interesting. But and like look at the aspect conversation, like it just loses all meaning when you really start putting like a ton of stuff on there. But that's not to say that it can't be kind of cool to play around a little bit, like by putting Lilith on there or the vertex or this one, and just add a few more to the chart and see how that continues to add more and more layers to your multifaceted energy and your personality. So those are my favorite features in chart selection. And I do believe that that wraps us up as far as how to pull your own natal chart for free using either Cafe Astrology or astro.com. I hope you'll stick around and check out more content. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.